So until we as men go, F the patriarchy, let's get women onto a level playing field, then it's always going to feel like we're being pushed aside when we're not. We're just being asked to share it. And yes, sometimes it does come off as a bit of a fight. Of course it will. But if voices aren't being heard, they got to shout louder.
What's up, everybody, and thank you guys so much for tuning in here today at Beside the Point. It's going to be a fun episode because we have an interesting topic to talk about here. It can be heated, it can be a hot topic at times, but political Hollywood, is it really damaging the industry, or is it just us as fans in general looking too hard into it? Stay with us, it's going to be fun. Presented by None of This Really Matters, this is Beside the Point here on Nerdy Blurb TV, and it's going to be an interesting episode because we're going to touch on some topics that we try to stay away from normally because of how heated they can become, or just how much I personally hate politics in general. We're going to touch on how it may be, or maybe possibly us, ruining the great, awesome movies that have been coming out in the fandom lately. And I have a very good friend of mine all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. The Weekly Rant is here today. Awesome YouTube channel. Definitely go and check him out. How you doing today, man?
Yo, how's it going? I am good. I'm very happy to be here and discussing this topic because I tell you what, I think last year on some of my videos, I went into this stuff and I faced a backlash talking about a lot of this stuff that I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I can't talk about this stuff on my channel anymore. I've just kind of, just got to keep it easy and keep it free. But it's been boiling up again. And so I'm glad when you approached me to come and talk about this stuff, because I kind of feel I need a last hoo-ha and just, get this out, and let's go for this. I'm ready.
So on your channel, you talk a lot about pop culture, just stuff that you love in general. Tell us a little bit about that so that people can understand what you're all about.
Yeah, cool. It's weird because my channel it kind of went through a few phases, really. I started off, by the name of the channel, The Weekly Rant. I started off as just ranting about all kinds of different, just general stuff, online dating, the weather. I don't know. I think I can't even remember what other stuff I used to run. Social media was something as well. I just kind of did general things, and I kept it light and humorous, and it wasn't a serious thing. But then I kind of got bored of that, and film and TV, being an actor as well, and I just watch films all the time. I'm in the cinema all the time. I've got such a beautiful Blu-ray collection. It just felt natural to me to talk about what I already like, especially with YouTube. It's such an important thing to do the stuff you enjoy, because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to have a community, you're not going to have an audience.
So Elliot is your name, Weekly Rant is the channel.
That's me.
Go and check him out.
Yep.
But before you do, stay with us. We're gonna be talking a lot about the politics in Hollywood. Is it really hurting the fandoms that we really love, or is it really us as fans? Are we looking into this way too much? And you and I seem to hit on that a lot. We have a lot of the same views, just going back and forth on Facebook or on Twitter or even on YouTube in itself. The reason why I like your channel so much is because you just lay it all out. You're very well organized in your speaking and thought process, that I really liked it, and you hit on a lot of the same things that I like. And so when we came together, and I feel like we came together through a bunch of angry tweets that we're just getting so sick of how toxic the fandoms are, and we're just like, yeah, we need to talk about this. Let's do this. And so here we are.
Definitely.
Here we are today. And so when I say, and I say it a lot of people might think I'm a broken record, but I really think that us as fans are the problem. And why do I say that? I think honestly, when we go into a movie expecting there to be politics associated with it, I feel like they're definitely going to be there. The people will find exactly what they're looking for, and they'll rip it apart no matter if they agree with it or not, they'll rip it apart because they expected that. And I feel like that is a huge thing that has happened lately. I don't know if you share the same feelings as I do.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I think because politics has just generally in our lives over the past 3, 4, 5 years has become such a bigger thing. Over here, everything with Brexit here in the UK just completely takes over all the news outlets everywhere, on all the main channels, on the smaller channels, on every single website, it's everywhere. And then obviously with you guys in the States with Donald Trump and everything there, like, politics is just such a big thing within our lives. Everywhere else is going to react to that as well, and Hollywood is going to be one of those places where it reacts. And a lot of the time you see it with actors in acceptance speeches at award ceremonies. Like, how has it gotten to that point now? And while I'm there, like, one thing I find so fantastic is how many people turn around and go, "You're just an actor, you can't have a view." I'm like, yeah, but you're a plumber, why do you get a view? It's we're all people, we all vote, we all get to say how we feel about it. Do Hollywood actors need to say it at the award ceremonies? Probably not, but the reason they do is because everybody's watching. This is the time to do it. This is the time to reach as many people with your message as you can. So if we're going into a cinema and we're going, right, I hate this political thing and I know this film's going to show it, I'm going to go and confirm that and then rant about it online. Yeah, if you're looking for it, you're always going to find it. It's always going to be there for you. But politics, it's such a part of our lives now, especially as adults when we're voting and everything. It's going to be in films. Chill. It's going to be there. We all know it. Just go with it.
Yeah, my wife and I, we were watching Singing in the Rain the other day. By the way, I've never seen that movie until then. Very great movie. Yeah. Old movie. Classic movie. And we were kind of just talking about how older movies back then, Singing in the Rain, White Christmas, all of that kind of genre of film, they all seem to be glorifying Hollywood or showing how Hollywood was back in the day and everything. Yeah. And we kind of landed on the fact that no one had the internet back then. Nobody saw behind the curtain. They just saw the movies in itself, and they thought it was this whole magical place. And so now that we have the internet, it's become more of the onion that we peel away, and we're wanting it to taste like something else rather than onion. And we set it's crazy that the fans have now set the precedent of everything. Does that mean that Hollywood is a problem? No, that doesn't exempt them, but I really think that we are making a lot worse. And you said that everybody is watching when people are making these speeches. Everybody is watching a movie like Star Wars or Captain Marvel or anything that comes out. Why wouldn't you use that to an advantage to put out an agenda? And there's definitely a line there. And I want to be able to explore that and just ask, first off, where do you feel like the line should be for Hollywood to say, all right, we do have an idea? Because first off, Hollywood and movies, they're all about telling stories. And I like character arcs, and there's always a lesson when it comes to that. And maybe that lesson might not be shared with everybody. So where is the line for Hollywood to be like, how should we touch on this topic without it being so on the nose, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good question. I sort of don't think they, off the top of my head, I can't see a way that they can do it without necessarily drawing a line in the sand and going, this is too far, this is too on the nose, because they've already put it on the nose. The Last Jedi put it on the nose. Avengers Endgame, with their little bit of the A-Force, put it on the nose. Like, it's been done. And what I kind of always say, and what I always say is, if the big boys aren't doing it, then we don't get the news stories. We don't get those news stories that will probably tell a better story, that will probably make more of an emphasis politically for whatever side of the coin you're on. But unless these big boys open the door, we're not going to get those stories. And the reason it kind of probably didn't work as well for The Last Jedi, or maybe where Captain Marvel slightly tilted over the edge, where, I mean, I don't think that it did, but obviously there's some things happen there, is because we sort of, specifically with Star Wars, we already have a story that began with The Force Awakens. So then when The Last Jedi starts to just add these real world things in, so on the nose as it did, it can be a bit like, well, hang on a minute, this isn't why I'm sitting down to watch this film. And I totally get that, and I totally respect that. But at the same time, I'm like, it's got to start somewhere. And if it doesn't start with these guys, it's not going to start at all.
Exactly. And I think when it comes to drawing a line in the sand, it's more of a personal thing. It's your personal preference.
Of course, yeah.
What I also think is that you're going to a movie to be entertained. Like, if you are going there to be represented and you don't find that representation, then you're doing it wrong. And I feel like there's a lot of communities out there. I'm not going to name them. Everybody knows what we're talking about. Many different ones. Whether you want to be represented or not, and you don't find it in there, you could possibly be mad. I, myself, am a Mormon, and there's no freaking movies about a Mormon, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. But that's just me. Maybe there are Mormons who are super mad. Yeah. There were no Mormons in any of the Avengers movie. But the thing about being, like, represented on screen is that I really think that everybody should be able to have that opportunity if they want it, or if the studios want to be able to represent that. But that's the whole thing about movies, is that they are something for everybody to enjoy and to share. Yeah. But when it's blatantly thrown into our faces, I think that sometimes you lose the message, or you lose the reason why you're making things. In my personal opinion, there have been way more movies that haven't done that, apart from what the general populace and fans have been saying, and they come down on them a lot. And I want to talk about two that have been on a lot of people's mouth, and we've already mentioned them, and that is The Force Awakens. Well, The Last Jedi, I guess, is way more controversial than Force Awakens. Yeah. And the most recent Captain Marvel movie, because everybody screamed feminism with that. And I just wanted, and this is kind of what spurred our wanting to talk about all of this kind of stuff. And I think that the populace has been just kind of ridiculously toxic about everything.
So when I first watched both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, my coming out the cinema after the first viewings of both those films, I wasn't sure. I didn't know. It was more so with The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was the first where I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Why? Because I'm one of these people that says that JJ carbon copied A New Hope. Now, the more I've watched The Force Awakens, the more I enjoy it. Every time I sit down and watch it, I enjoy it more and more, because I've just chosen to go, this is what it is, let's find what's good in it. And now I'm great. I can sit down and watch that film and I'll enjoy it. Of course, we talk about, one thing I kind of always think is that fans, we feel that we have ownership over stuff. And so when something doesn't happen the way we want it, we want to change it. And I have my things with The Force Awakens that I'd love to have seen done differently, but that's beside the point. Now, when I went to watch The Last Jedi, I came out that theater and I was like, they've done a lot of different things here. They did a lot of things I didn't expect them to do. We've had 2 years theorizing, and actually what you've put forward is great. Now, it was very clear with The Last Jedi that Rian Johnson was pushing not just new things within Star Wars lore, but pushing things that are in our world into this world. Did he need to do it? This is the question. And I can only go back to what I said earlier. Yeah, he kind of did, because if he doesn't do something different, no one else will. And so the more I watched it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that Rian Johnson is trying something new here. Did it quite pull off? Probably not. I think we can all agree he went too far on the nose with it. However, I'm glad he did it. I'm glad that he said, no, I've got to do this. And so when we kind of talk about Star Wars and if it's gone too far, it's not gone far enough for me yet.
Rian Johnson, like, in my opinion, Star Wars was the biggest franchise in the world. Some may say it still is, but it is the most recognizable. Even people who have never seen it know exactly what it is. You are given the opportunity to write a story and represent your own views on it. Do you take that chance? I honestly feel like if you put that to anybody, even somebody who like screams damnation upon Rian Johnson's soul, I really honestly think that they would take the same exact opportunity as he did.
Yeah.
And like you said,
yeah, exactly.
Did he take it too far? My personal opinion, yes, I think he did. When people complain and say, I don't need real world problems in my Star Wars movies, well, guess what? It's always been that way. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia are relatable is because they used real world problems, real world situations in a fantasy realm. And that's a whole point of storytelling in general, and Star Wars is among some of the best storytelling ever. Of course, George Lucas used real life scenarios in that. So
exactly.
I'm just calling people out right now by saying that this is nothing new that we've seen here. Is it my personal favorite? No. I think they could have taken it down way more. I think seeing a female Jedi is dope, but I didn't need to be preached to. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's weird because I in terms of Rey, I never felt preached upon. The only time for me that the Last Jedi got preachy was on Canto Bight with the slavery of the children and the slavery of the animals. Again, nothing we haven't seen in Star Wars. It was in the OT, it was in the PT. Slavery was always there. You look at where they start, you look at where they end. Did we push a feminist? Well, okay, I'm not going to say feminist because I've got a whole thing about how this word is used. But did we push an agenda where the females were stronger than the men? No. What we push is we push strong female leads, and actually, if it weren't for their actions, the men wouldn't have got to the point where they did at the end of the film.
And so, and that's all super well said. And so, the question I guess I have is, do you think that people are just looking too far into it because of the marketing of The Last Jedi was, not to use the word too loosely, but was very feministic. It was very, like, people looked at it and was like, this is going to be way more feminist driven than anything. And I feel like people's expectations were already set before they went and saw the movie. And granted, I didn't enjoy the movie, not because it was political. I choose not to look at the lens, the life through that lens. I just didn't like the storytelling. That's a whole other episode in itself. But, like, specifically, do you think that, like, saying all of that, do you think it's just because people were just willing to look for the agenda more than what they're trying to put on screen?
Yeah, I think with that I need to define exactly for what I believe feminism to be, because otherwise I don't think it will make sense with what I'm going to say. So for me, feminism, it's simply equality between both sexes. As simple as that. It's not one being stronger than the other. It's not about one being on top. It's about both being on this playing field. Now, and this is where it gets confused, and this is where people start to use it differently, because there is not equality. We do not live in a feminist culture right now. We live in a patriarchal culture. So here are the men, here are the women. This is where we live. So when films market themselves as a feminist film, it's going to seem like really the women are here. But they're not. They're still here. They're just having to push more because they're having to break through to here. And that's how I see it. So it's going to feel like it's more. It's going to feel like it's pushing something because it has to. It has to push, because too much is the patriarch. And I'm not saying men. When I say patriarch as well, I'm not saying men. Men are not the problem, because if men were the problem, then I wouldn't be here arguing for the equality of women. What is the problem is that we have a patriarchal system that naturally allows men on top. So until we as men go, F the patriarchy, let's get women onto a level playing field, then it's always going to feel like we're being pushed aside when we're not. We're just being asked to share it. And yes, sometimes it does come off as a bit of a fight, of course it will, but if voices aren't being heard, they gotta shout louder.
So then let's move on from Star Wars into the latest one, Captain Marvel, because with the allegations of fans screaming out saying that Brie Larson as a person could care less about men, could care less about this, that, and the other, I feel like a lot of people would feel like that's her saying, like, get up way up here, pushing it. And I agree with you. It is the culture, and anything going against the grain of the culture feels 10 times more than what it really is. And I think you said it right. When you have to push for something, it always feels like it's going to be more because it's against the system. And I totally agree with you. I did not think it was super overboard when it comes to Captain Marvel. And I think that was because of words that were put in Brie Larson's mouth more than anything else. And it's because, just like you said, if somebody's trying to push through, it feels way more. And I feel like if any woman uses man in a sentence about anything, that's the push that people look for. So as Captain Marvel, you saw the film. You enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the film. A lot of people didn't. I wouldn't say it's my favorite in the entire world, but I was able to enjoy it because I felt like I wasn't tainted by first off, I turned the internet off for a long time. And I was just like, I'm so sick. I'm so sick and tired of hearing all these people, first off, make assumptions about a movie that hasn't even come out yet. And even when when they were clearly, you look at everybody, their content on their channel or their Instagram or Twitter, and it's hugely, I mean, I've said this so long, I cannot stand the channel Geeks and Gamers. Like, I feel like that's already gonna get me a lot of hurt in the comment section. I don't care. Those people on there look for opportunities to bring down social justice, and I just think that we should stop labeling everybody and just go to the movies and enjoy it.
Hello guys, I am Lily Kay. We are of course talking about the toxic fans, and every big movie has these people. Every single one of them. Why do you guys even exist? Like, I think in the world that we are living right now, it's even bigger than it ever was before. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it didn't exist like years ago, like way back when they started to make movies. I mean, there will always be people that are just simply toxic to the film industry, and not just to the film industry. We can talk about books, we can talk about TV shows, we can talk about anything basically. I just had a talk with one of my friends, let's call him that, one of my friends, and we had a little argument because back in the days he was complaining that Marvel didn't do enough fan service. So there were things that we wanted to see but we didn't get to see because they choose another path, just to, get it clear. And now that they did it in Avengers Endgame, because we can say that it was a full-on fan service, and now that you got it like full-on in Endgame, it's not good. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with these people? Like, seriously, nothing's enough? Like, nothing is enough? Like, if you get what you want, that's the problem. If you don't get what you want, that's the problem. Like, make up your mind, people. Are we serious right now? Like, I know I can be a bit over-dramatic if things didn't turn out the way I would have liked them to turn out in one of my favorite TV shows or in one of my favorite movies franchises. And honestly, don't get me started on Mass Effect ending, like the third Mass Effect game, which was amazing, by the way, but the ending just sucked so hard. And honestly, I became the toxic fan we are talking about right now. But some people just take it to the next level, and it's just, they just can't see it, that basically if something turns out really badly, it's mostly their fault, because you might think that the people that are making these films and TV shows are not really listening to you, but they do. And I think it's becoming a problem, to be honest. I liked The Last Jedi. I really liked it. I know that even Mark Hamill had problems with it, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. I thought that it brought in something different. And then seeing how they attacked that poor girl who was playing the new character, that was just the character that she played, and she was actually really good at it, and she made it fun. And I just cannot imagine, how can you start your career when people are coming around and saying really, really bad things about you, and they weren't even true. She did what she could with the character, and I think for her first role it was really good. And you're ruining her life. She had to quit Twitter and Instagram and everything because you were harassing her. I would never go to the length to actually blame people and say that they are the evil because something didn't turn out the way I wanted it. I think what happened with Game of Thrones just lately is that people had all these theories, everything. And don't get me wrong, I know that there were a lot of mistakes in the last season, like story-wise, like character-wise and everything. I know that. It's not about that. But, you know, there were all these fan theories going around on the internet way before season 8 was coming out, way before it happened, actually. It was going around since, like, I don't know, since season 3 or something like that. And when the creators decided to go on another way, which meant that, you know, fans didn't get what they wanted and what they were dreaming about, there we were. Sorry, but it just makes me really, really angry. It makes me angry because I think that the season final was actually good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, and the cinematography and everything, perfection, just perfection. And I just hate seeing people that are saying that the whole show is completely ruined because of 6 episodes that they didn't like. It's not ruined. It is not. I don't know what you're talking about, but you want too many things at the same time. And I grant you that if those fan theories were to come true in the season final, that would have been a problem as well. I mean, nothing's enough for people. Nothing.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, your thoughts on the film. Do you feel like it was overly pushed, or do you feel like you were able to enjoy the movie because you just wanted to go and see a good movie?
Both things actually kind of stand there. I enjoyed the film because I wanted to watch a good film. I thought it was a very good film. I watched it twice within 3 days. The second time, it did so much for me. I thought it was just a brilliant film. Now, in terms of what Brie Larson said, I watched that interview back about 3 times in a row. I was like, right, I need to just watch this. I need to just understand where people are coming from. And I watched it and I was like, yeah, she was a little brash in her wording. I will give you that. But I kind of then echo that back to what I said about you have to push harder to get your voice heard. What she was essentially saying was I want a diverse pool of press. And what she wanted was this. The film was made with female empowerment in mind. Yeah, that's obvious to us. So she's going to want female critics to write about this so that then female audiences are going to read what women think of a film about female empowerment. What is so wrong about that? Like, for me, it's a 1 + 2 = 3, you know? You know, and this is the thing, especially when you look at the MCU, 22 films, 1.5 of them are led by women. 22 films, 1.5 are led by women. So when Marvel and Brie Larson sit there and go, this is a female superhero film, women, girls, come and watch this film, how can you not expect them to shout from the rooftops about that? Well, they didn't do that for Captain America or Thor because they don't need to, because we don't live in a matriarchal system. We don't live in a system where men aren't on top. We can just advertise their films as their characters. But now we've got this brand new film in an age where we're pushing for stronger equality, and equality isn't about anybody else getting more than anybody else. It's about everybody having the exact same. We're all sharing. We're all on top of the mountain. That's where we're sitting. And people just kind of don't understand that, I feel. Or they choose not to understand that. I feel a lot of it is choice. And as you say, with geeks and gamers, and they look for it. You know, I don't watch their stuff. I actually haven't. I think I saw the title of one video and I was like, do you know what? I don't need to hear it, because I kind of know what's going to happen here. And there's a lot of people out there, and I just kind of go, you know what, look, even if I write into your comment section, it's not going to change anything. You're still going to make the content you're going to want to make because you have the audience. Fair enough. You've figured out what works for you. But when you're actively looking to slander someone, to hate preach on someone because they just want a level playing field, I can't agree with it, and I can't get on board with it. I don't get it, and I make a choice where I go, I don't need to listen to you. And I'm sure they're gonna, if they ever see this, they'll be like, oh boo-hoo, this one person's not gonna watch us. But you know, that's cool, that's fine. It's one, in my eyes, that's one less person in a world of 7 billion. So I'm all good.
Kudos to geeks and gamers for finding an audience that is willing to listen to them. Good for them. I am just not one of them, because I feel like it hurts. It hurts more than builds. I think it tears down way more than it builds. And because there was one, and let's not bring them into it anymore, but I've seen a lot of content about and small YouTubers, big YouTubers, whatever, looking into how all of the Avengers actors just hate Brie Larson. And that was, in my opinion, that was the one that baffled me the most. And it's because you are clearly, all of you, no matter how big your channel is, no matter who you are, and no matter how big a fan you are, nobody can understand the relationship that anybody else has outside looking in. Like, nobody can. Nobody can look at you and my relationship and be like, oh, those two guys, they're probably not as good as friends. Well, who knows? Like, who cares? Yeah. Like, it's only about them. And I feel like it was only because all of the buzz that was going around. It wasn't even something that was super obvious to me. We won't dive into it too much. It's been talked about way too much on the internet. It's just an excuse that I feel like people have to do exactly what you say. Just make it to where they bend things to their own agendas.
It's to fit a narrative you want to tell.
Exactly. Yes. Better said. And I think I agree with you. She was brash in what she said. I kind of understood what she said after I had to pick through it. But the thing is that, was it going to change the fact that I was going to go and see Captain Marvel? No. Was Captain Marvel the very first superhero film ever? No. Is Brie Larson a pioneer because of how big she is for women? No. I mean, you've got so many other women out there. You've got Resident Evil. You've got freaking Underworld. You've got these franchises that have been holding up for a long, long time. But she can be counted among them. The only thing is that there's a lot of clout with the MCU.
Yeah, yeah. And this is, I love what you've just said there. She can be counted among them. You know how everyone was going like, oh, Wonder Woman's better than Captain Marvel. Wonder Woman, she's the one, she's the one, she's the one, she's the one. And I'm like, yo. There's room for more than just one. You know this, yeah? Like you can like that one, and I can like that one. Or guess what? We can like both of them. We don't have to have just the one. You know, we all sit there going, oh, who's your favorite Avenger? Oh, I love Thor, and I love Spiderman, and Captain. Well, dude, you've already shown right there that there is room for more than one, because they're guys and these are girls. It doesn't change anything. It's just absolutely, yeah.
And it's really interesting to me too that so many people came down on Captain Marvel and Brie Larson and said that you'll never be Wonder Woman. Well, I mean, what the heck was Wonder Woman? Why was that not like smashing the glass ceiling? You know, that why wasn't that
oh my gosh,
way more? And I feel like that's just because when actors make a brash statement and it allows anybody to be able to interpret it however they want and the way they want as well, it changes everything, because so many people could have been so down on on Wonder Woman, and yet they weren't. It's really weird. You go back in time and you look at Wonder Woman and the marketing and everybody's reaction to it. Everyone was excited for it. There was hardly anyone that said, this is a huge move by DC trying to push political correctness and feminism. Hardly anyone. I would say, like, I personally didn't see a single, like, anything about that. But then you get Captain Marvel, who's doing it in a different universe, who isn't that much different, and the world explodes, and it's ridiculous. And I just don't understand. I don't understand the balance of it.
No, it's crazy. And you know, again, what you say about Wonder Woman, the thing is that if you actually look in the two films, for me, Wonder Woman had a scene that was more on the nose than anything in Captain Marvel. Now, don't get me wrong, it's the best scene in Wonder Woman. It's the no man's land scene. But if you think about it, she was like, no man's land? Heck, well, I can enter that. I'm not a man.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't get me wrong, like, it was the most beautiful scene in the film, and it was, when I watched it, I literally was streamed with tears. But, you know, the closest Captain Marvel had to something as on the nose as that was when she stole the motorbike off the guy that told her to smile. And, like, that was chill, you know? It was hilarious. It was. Do you know that so when I watched it, I was like, oh, did they add that in reshoots after all the reaction to the first trailer? Apparently they had filmed that. That was part of the original cut. Like, that wasn't a reshoot or anything.
Which is funny, because I heard that No Man's Land was something that they totally reshot. They didn't ever want it in there. I heard that producers didn't want it, and then director and writer was like, this is definitely going in the film. Yeah. And good on them. It is definitely the best part of the film. It is definitely on the nose. And if anybody looks at that and listens to this conversation and says we're wrong, who cares? Because it's all up to us. And that kind of is what the problem is. I really like what you said at the very beginning of all of this, is that I feel like fans feel like they own stuff. I feel and I feel like they're entitled to. I mean, look at all of the petitions that are going around, changing Captain Marvel. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but like, give us a different season,
mate.
Or I don't know.
It's ridiculous for Game of Thrones.
I don't know. It's just like, what is your petition really gonna do? You've already seen it. It's already in your mind. Like people petitioning friggin' Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Because you ended up seeing it. It's going to be, for someone like me, that's going to be stuck in my brain. Every time I watch that now, I will know. And when I go back, I was like, that's what's happened. Indiana Jones, like, he's going to get old and he's going to meet aliens. It happened in the fourth one, no matter how much my brain tries to push it out. But it's just, I find it really ridiculous that fans feel as if, I mean, fans' voices should be heard because they're made for movies are made for the fans.
Of course.
Don't get me wrong there, but like, You're
Straight up, yeah.
You're not the one who wrote Thor, you know? And if you got a problem with him being fat, that's your own freaking problem. Because those other people know him way better than you do, no matter how many comic books you read. It's political. I mean, I even met somebody, get this, dude, just the other day. I met somebody the other day who said that they didn't like Avengers Endgame because they were trying to push a political agenda with Thor and about how we should accept overweight people. I was like, what? Are you serious right now? Maybe they were, but I did not walk out of the theater thinking, yeah, dude, let's go make friends with fat people now. That is not what they were. It just shows how, like, people are looking for it. They go in hoping that something fails because it's something to talk about. And I just don't get it. Why can't we just have a level playing field? Sorry, your thoughts.
No, that's shocking. That's shocking.
Right?
What? Okay, that blows my mind. Well, I watched a video last week, and it was. Have you heard of the channel Hello Future Me?
I think so.
If you haven't checked him out properly, check him out. He does a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff, actually. So he's definitely. I said that really weird, Last Airbender. But yeah, definitely check him out. But he joined with another channel that I don't know, talking about Avengers Endgame, and it was interesting. One of the guys from the other channel, they only spoke once in the whole video, and it was about the Thor. About how Thor was played out in Endgame, and they didn't like it, and they absolutely hated it. But what was interesting is the comment section was like, actually, I really kind of disagree with you there, because a lot of these people that are commenting are saying, you know, I've dealt with depression, I've dealt with alcoholism, I've dealt with this, I've dealt with that, and anxiety and everything, and they represented it perfectly. You know, this is and this is where things. This is another thing where things come from, is that people talk as if they know a thing, but they've never experienced it. They've really never experienced it. And I can push that on anything, on everything that's happening in America with this heartbeat bill at the moment. It's being pushed out onto people by people who have no experience of what they're going through. I see racial things differently from you because we have a different experience on it, and if anyone came to me of a different race and tried to say no, but you guys just do this and this and you're okay, I'll be like, how the F do you know? How the F do you know what I experience on a day-to-day basis? You don't live it. You know, I'm not saying that you don't get to say, but if you want to know, let's have a conversation, let's discuss it. Don't just tell me how it is, because you don't know. So for you to say that someone come up to you and goes, oh, we have to accept, I don't even want to say fat, that's just horrible, you know, we have to accept people of a different body shape to me. What
right. It
Go
was
home.
Like,
Go home.
Exactly. It was so surreal, because it was like it was like me looking into it. Made me feel old, first off, because the person was not that much younger than me, but I felt like a grandpa by saying that you have no idea what you're talking about. Back in my day, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, because I felt like it's just like talking to a generation, talking to an ignorant generation that is not even willing to be open to anything. And I feel like that's really honestly the solution. Last Jedi, Captain Marvel, I feel like these movies would have been better for all of us. I mean, I'll be honest. I think I don't think I would have enjoyed Last Jedi, because there's a lot of things that I have problems with it storytelling wise, but I really think the blow would have been a lot softer if I wasn't surrounded by all of this negative and toxic content coming out saying how much feminist this or that it's gonna be. And so I turned off the internet during Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. And I think that's the point. I think that's what people need to do. When Into the Spider-Verse came out, I feel like there were some people who was like, oh, this is just an opportunity for them to come up with a black superhero. and
yeah.
right, but like that's how ignorant people are, because that's not even the case. Yeah. But they Into the Spider-Verse did such a great job. They broke so many cultural barriers. It was a stupendous film. I would even say it's the most important comic book superhero movie of all time because of what they were able to accomplish, and everybody walked out of that with no politics on the mind, and that's because they were exactly, they were not they weren't expecting, they didn't look into it. It's a kids movie, and yet they walked out of it saying that was an amazing film, and they took it serious because there were no expectations that were put on it. And so I think us as fans, we put too many expectations on a film, and it will never meet them. And also we look for the bad in everything when it comes to our fandom. And so with like kind of like wrapping things up, like are there any thoughts that you have when it comes to just like a solution? Like, what if you had to give a public service announcement to anybody who's watching or struggling with any of these things right now? What would you say to these people?
Yeah, well, interestingly, in my note taking today, I hadn't got that far yet, but just watching one of the episodes on the Dragon Prince. We've spoken. I keep bringing this up with you, but to anybody that is watching, if you've not watched the Dragon Prince on Netflix, please do yourself a favor and just binge watch that show. But there's an episode in the second season, and I'll try not to spoil too much, but one of the characters in an older character in a letter to one of the young heroes sort of says, don't use history to decide how you act in the future. Use your thoughts, use your own thoughts, your own imagination. Don't, strength doesn't come through what's done before. Strength comes through love. And maybe sounds a bit corny and a bit cheesy out of context here, but I really kind of agree with that. As I say, for me, one of the biggest problems with the way that fandoms react to stuff now is that they choose to react that way because they can get a following, they can get the views, they can get the retweets, and so they know that if I put this out, people are going to lap it up.
Yes.
And so I just kind of think, you're just spreading hate for the sake of I don't know what. Just choose to do the other thing. And especially if you find that you're sending out negativity, you must be getting a lot of negativity back. You can't push negativity out and not get any of it back. And just try putting a bit more positivity out there. Just try it, see how it goes. I don't think there's any one solution to any of this. It's about a lot of people doing little things, but if enough of them do it, we might be able to change a few things around here.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first from the Weekly Rant here on Nerdy Blurb TV. Go and check out the Weekly Rant's channel. He does awesome stuff. He has great views, he's a great speaker. Oh my gosh, that is definitely why I subscribe to your channel, dude, because just everything you put out is just so well done. And way better than I could ever come. I mean, I'm even fumbling on my words here now, but just quality stuff. Go and check out the Weekly Rant. If you agree, disagree, we'd love to be able to hear from you in the comments down below. The thing about the reason why we do all of this is because we want to keep it civil. If you guys disagree, that's totally fine. That's why we're doing this. We want to be able to hear how we could be wrong so that we can change if we feel like it. So comment down below.
Well, exactly.
Comment down below, like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. But really, this is a community that we're trying to build here. Be sure to tell us what you think about all the films here that we've talked about, and how maybe possibly we can all make going to the movies a better experience. Elliot, dude, thank you so much for coming on today, man.
No, Ryan, man, it is a pleasure. I mean, we talk about all the time that we just got to collab. And so I know that with either of us, when one of us throws out the invitation, we're always going to say yes. So thank you very much for having me on here. And if any of you are new to Nerdy Blurb TV, do make sure you subscribe to this channel as well, because as much as Ryan praises me, I praise him 10 times back. So he pulls faces. But if you want a channel that, Ryan, you have a channel that's just fun, you know, as with this discussion, we just want to make talking about films and TV fun, and you just do that. You know, we've taken the time out to speak about the negative today, but otherwise we just push the fun, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's why you buy the cinema ticket, and that's what you do. So.
That's true. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't checked out our stuff, go and check it out now. Definitely check out the Weekly Rant, and until next time, just stay awesome.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in here today at Nerdy Blurb TV and checking out this video. Consider subscribing if you're into this kind of stuff, because we like to keep it nerdy here and interact with cool individuals such as yourself. Have a great day.